Welcome back to AEHL Rinkside. Troy Gillard, this time joined by Rob Davis, the head coach of the Sherwood Park U15 AAA United Cycle Flyers. Rob, appreciate you taking time to join us this episode. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for having me on. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, likewise. First question, I always like to get into the background of our guest on this show. So just to take us back to give us the Coles notes of your coaching history, as it were, Rob.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. I actually, when I was going to college in Red Deer, I had a car accident, and we had a representative from Hockey Canada come in and talk to our phys ed group, and they started talking about talking. And at the time, I started talking to Ron Kraft, who was coaching the team at the time, and he actually ended up hooking me up with Dennis Zakuski out of Red Deer, and started coaching Pee Wee with him my second year of college. Moved to Edmonton after that year and started with the Southside Athletic Club, and coached all the way up through there. Did a couple years of Bantam A, a year of AA, and then ended up coaching Bantam AAA, I guess is what it was at the time, U15 triple. That was the year Jay Bomeister was on the team, and we were lucky enough to win provincials that year, and it was back in the old tournament format. So it was a pretty exciting year for us. And from that, I had somebody reach out to me from McEwen. That's when they were starting first. It was Grant McEwen back then. They were starting the first 3 years of their program, and he asked me to come on board, so I did. And then in training camp, he left. So I ended up being the head coach for the first 3 years of the McEwen program. Probably a little over my head at that time. I had a lot of players that were close or similar to my age, and probably just wasn't prepared. So I did that for 3 years, and was not rehired, I guess is how you would call it. And I kind of took a step away for a while. I just got married, and I didn't jump back into the coaching until my kids were of age, and kind of coached them up through minor hockey. I had to stop when they got into the Kings Club, my daughter and my son. And then I was on the board for years. I was actually the president of the Kings Club for quite a few years, and I kind of got the itch to go back. So I've been back coaching the last 3 years with the Kings, doing U15 double a couple of years ago, U16 triple last year, and doing the U15 triple A's this year, which we're really excited about.
That's awesome. Obviously, a great amount of experience, a lot of variety in there too. But just based on the fact that you've come back to coaching a couple of different times over the years, Rob, it's pretty clear that it's a passion of yours.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a Bachelor of Phys Ed, and I took a focus major in coaching. So there was a lot on the sports psychology side of it. I really enjoyed the time chasing the dream. I wonder if I, should have stepped away, or, what I should have done there. But, at the end of the day, I really like giving back to my community. I like, seeing the development of kids. There's only so many, coaches out there. A lot of people get thrust into the position who aren't prepared, and it's unfortunate. So I think the people that are able to, give back, they need to be doing that. So, it's a true passion of mine. We'll see how many more years I do it. We're trying to get some young guys coming along here, but, I love doing it and staying in the game for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And just taking a look at your club season so far this year, as we chat right now, we're in the middle of December, but, third place in the North Division in the U15 AAA League of the AEHL. So I guess overall, so far, so good.
Yeah, we're very happy. I mean, we didn't really know a lot of the players coming in. My son's in his last year of U18. And so we didn't know some of the players down at this age. We kind of got brought in the last minute, right before our spring camp. So we didn't really know where we would fit in. We ended up with 6 first years on our team this year. So we didn't know how well that would go over as well. But, and then our approach is, we really have a program that we stick to, and we put players in all positions. They'll play power play, they'll play penalty kill, they'll play, early in the game, late in the game, whatever it may be. So, the fact that we're doing that, and usually after Christmas is when we start to narrow in on some more specific positions. And, so yeah, we're very ecstatic where we're at. I mean, you could see, I think our leading point getter is 23 points behind the league leader. And we have to do it by committee. And, I think the kids have been doing a great job by doing that.
Is that a big priority for you these days, Rob? Is focusing on the development side and making sure the players are, working on all areas or getting the opportunity to work on all areas of their game?
Yeah, we truly believe that. And I mean, there's a couple different facets to that. And, really, I consider myself truly a developmental coach. And from that standpoint, even some of our top players, as they move to the next level next year, they're probably going to be clawing to try to get some special teams, whether it be, one side or the other. So you have to have players prepared for all sides. Everybody loves to win, but for us, we don't want to sacrifice that winning for the sake of development and not give some of our athletes the opportunity to showcase their skills, whether it be on power play or penalty kill. And what we found is that during the course of that time, we really find that the players actually become more comfortable with certain positions and they like to thrive at it. And they truly feel like they are a contributing member to the team. So every single player plays, let's say on special teams, every single player has a role. And, to me, that you just get that buy-in from the players. It's, it's how teams succeed in my mind. So, we stick to it. We adapt it a little bit here and there. At times there are certain players that you might have to showcase. We were lucky enough to be in the Abbotsford tournament. We were in Calgary. We have the NAX tournament coming up. There's a lot of exposure for, certain, for all of our players. But, obviously we've had, discussions about certain players. So we got to make sure that, we give them that opportunity as well, too. So, yeah, for sure.
And you were telling me just before we started this chat, Rob, your staff as a whole, a lot of experience behind the bench with the U15 AAAs there in Sherwood Park. How big do you think that is to, helping these players become the best that they can be right now, all having all that experience behind the bench?
Yeah, well, as I had mentioned to you when I was the president of the Kings, I always said it would be nice to have some gray hairs that would come back and, try to develop a culture and a program, and have that set out that, people could kind of expect, what types of players would come out of there and the rest of it. And the big thing, when you have, as I mentioned, I think I'm 49, I got a 50-year-old and a 51-year-old coach. And then we have a couple young guys as well, too, that we're bringing along. But, we've kind of been through the game. Our kids have been through the game. We've coached at, various high levels. We've had a lot of experience in our work, in our life, in our families. And to me, that's just something that's, something that can't be rushed. And when I was a young coach, I thought I could rush it. And when I look back to when I was coaching back then, there was a lot of things I didn't know. I knew hockey like the back of my hand, but I didn't know the softer side of coaching. And, so that's one thing. And we were having a meeting actually with our captains and assistants yesterday, and we were talking about accountability. And the leadership team said some players, and, they're playing U15 triple now. They said some players just aren't used to being held accountable, and it's a little bit difficult for them. And, and that's what we've always said is we believe in all of our players. They have to earn our trust for sure. But, at the end of the day, that is the one thing we'll do is we will hold them accountable to making sure that they can get to the level of where they want to be.
For sure. And those are skills. I mean, obviously accountability, it goes well beyond the rink and, on the ice, off the ice. Those are life skills right there. And we all know that those are important, especially at those formative years in their mid-teens as they go on to whether it be the next level of hockey or just life in general. Those are important things to try and get across to these youngsters.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I look at it. My daughter is fortunate enough to be playing lacrosse, and I look at some of the skills she has and what she learned through hockey. She played in the AEHL until U15, and then she stepped away to play lacrosse. But a lot of those things that she learned in hockey are paying off in spades for her now. Her collegiate career, right? So I mean, that is a point that holds true to me no matter what. And I'll see players that I did coach back in the Southside days or in college, and it's interesting having those conversations with them of, now I know what you were saying kind of thing, right? So.
For sure. Lessons may not sink in right away, but a few years down the line when they bump into you, say, man, all that stuff that you talked about, you did actually know what you were talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned it a little bit earlier too, how you're taking on a bit of a mentorship role with some younger guys that you're working into your current program. Is that something that you see yourself, perhaps staying involved with, even if you do step away from coaching at some point, is, taking that mentorship role moving forward?
Yeah, and I mean, I learned this pretty early on, and I had mentioned, back in the day when I was doing the Alberta Cup, kind of late '90s, early 2000s. I was they had the mentorship program, like it's been around forever. And it was so valuable back then, being able to have somebody that you could lean on and you could talk to, and, you could bounce things off and not be threatened by it, I guess. I mean, a lot of people in hockey, I'm a person who shares a lot. A lot of people are threatened by, if they share too much, they might take their job or whatever. So the mentorship program has been exceptional. When I got back into coaching, I reached back out to Barry because I kind of wanted to get back involved. And I did that for him. I forget how many years it was ago, probably 5-6 years ago. And then when I started coaching, I wanted to get back into the program. So I coached the prospects last year, just to get a feel for being on that side of it again, and then jump back into the process or to the mentorship this year. And to me, that's something I think I can continue to do for, the next 15, whatever it may be, years of staying relevant, it helps you to stay relevant. But, you can also impart some experiences on some other coaches that they can learn from and make their own decisions, right?
Absolutely. For everything that we all take from the game, it's important to do what we can to give back and make sure the game, continues to grow and evolve and be sustainable in the future. So, and obviously, mentorship roles are a big part of that. So awesome too. And hey, when you mention a guy like Barry Midori, who better to learn from, right? He's done a lot for a lot of coaches over the years. So
Yeah, you were pretty lucky to have him involved in Alberta for sure. And that's, something. He's a guy that I know I could pick up the phone anytime and talk to him because of our relationship we've had through the years. And, there's never a dumb question with him. It's, here's what I think, but at the end of the day, you need to make your decisions, right?
yeah, absolutely. And you're still having a lot of fun doing what you're doing?
Yeah, you know what? It's, you were a little worried about the U15 age group going back to that, but you know what? They've been exciting. They're great. Their attitudes every day at the rink. At this level, they're sponges and they want to learn. They maybe haven't developed, and I've got a 17-year-old right now, so they maybe haven't developed some of those attitudes in a sense, but you know what? We are really enjoying it. It's a great group of kids. Our room is, very tight. I think that's part of the reason that we're having some success. And, we're trying to develop a culture here back at the Kings Club of, a destination where players want to play because, there are options out there. And, there's people will talk about the advantages of, this program or that program and the rest of it. But, for us, we just want to be able to provide a program where players are developing. I talk a lot about transformational versus transactional coaching. We're trying to create an experience here for the kids, so that regardless of whatever happens, at least they say at the end of the year, at least it was a good experience. It was, we really enjoyed that hockey season. I want to play next year, right?
Exactly. Keep them wanting more. That's the important thing. Keep growing the young humans and keep growing the game itself. So
Yeah.
great to hear that, Rob. Hey, thanks again for taking the time to chat this afternoon. Really appreciate being able to get to know you and continued success this year and down the road.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the time. It's a great thing the AEHL is doing with this Rinkside, so happy to be a part of it.